Namaste. Welcome everyone to Satsang this morning. And welcome all who are joining us via broadcasting. Very good morning to everyone. You? Okay. Okay.
Hello, Muji.
Good morning.
I'm very new to satsang, and I saw you the first time just a couple of weeks ago, before registration for this second retreat, and just seeing into your eyes. I knew I want to discover more of this. And being here now, I discovered all the extreme of my being. From really space, emptiness to a certain extent. Also realizing there was a lot of, I wanted to keep it, to stay.
You realized that something wanted to keep it, or what did you say? Yeah.
And on the other extreme of like going on the other side of a lot of resistance, hiding, just like following the strategies you were telling a couple of days ago, just like doing like this, or just behind the pillars, just hoping you were not seeing me.
Yes.
And all this, also noticing arrogance, all was appearing just like a lot of fears.
Yes.
And yesterday I could really stay for a couple of hours in this feeling of really space, and still noticing when the mind were coming back saying, "You're sure you can keep it?" But there's one really point that is really struggling me. When it comes to some physical happenings in my body, where it's really so difficult to see that I'm nobody. So I would really like to ask you to guide me to my nobodiness.
Yes.
Because it seems even to be in the way of inquiry.
You're not used to it, and yet at the same time, you will take to it if you don't close the door on it. It's only looking. And actually it is perhaps the swiftest way, the quickest way, because there's a huge difference when things are coming up and you're involved in them or identified with them, or when you're merely observing. And we find it very difficult. It feels very new and challenging, almost impossible to observe without interfering, to observe without identifying, because the habit has been to identify. When things become personal, then it's very difficult to separate from your reactions and so on. So in the beginning, it feels like it's some effort is required to keep off this tendency to just go in. And we must give some time for that. Gradually, you come to see, there's a space which is simply not participating. It's not a participant in the activities that are arising in the mind as thought or feelings or some event or something like that. Even in the body. And it reminds me, as you speak about this bodily thing, one friend had come and she had to go to see a specialist in Harley Street. Harley Street is a very famous street for all the most expensive doctors in England, certainly in London, They're very famous for that. And she had to go and see because she's an actor, but she always had to wear glasses or strong contacts or something. I don't know if she was wearing contacts then, but she said, it's really a handicap to have to rely on my glasses. I want to be free of them. So we went together because we talked about it. She says, I have a lot of fear coming at what happens because the eyes, if something goes wrong, maybe you don't get a second chance. We don't know. So there was a lot of anxiety about it. And I said, let's go together. And we talked a bit. So the first consultation, we went and we talked, and the doctor was very, very honest. He said, it can go wrong. He said like this. So I don't want to butter you up, and because that's not the way I work. I prefer to put everything on the table and tell you like this. But the chances of it being success is very high, like that. But things can go wrong. So we walked away from that, and an appointment was made, and we talked. And I said, you have to, all these fears coming up, you must separate from them, hand your existence to existence, and trust that life has brought you here. We're here together like this. And then she says, okay, on the day, she says, I'm ready. So we went together. And I sat, he allowed me to stay in the room. I was right here looking at her, right at her face, holding the hand. And I thought that he took her eyeballs out or something like that. They put some contraption and kind of like, I said, wow, but I didn't. I was very calm, so and all this laser stuff, and it's incredible like this. And right throughout, she held my hand and she did not twitch. Not even this. I was so surprised. She was very calm. She just gave her body over to the experience. She could do this, In much the same way, many people, when they have massage like this, myself also, I just give you my body, go and get on with it. And I am just in my own place. And then you can hand it over. So this expression, leave the existence to existence, it can help you to just kind of be completely in the place of neutrality, to a place of neutrality, where witnessing of what is arising is happening very casually, but you are not really watching, or if you're at the dentist, and you don't know what he's doing in there with all these tools and stuff, and like jacking up a car and you just have to be neutral, because if you let your mind go there, you just think, what am I doing here, So all of this is exercises and opportunities to really go into the no mind or into the neutral state like that. And perhaps when it comes to the body, fear comes because we still haven't gotten over the very strong attachment to the body as being who we are. And if the body goes, then that's it, end of. And in our culture, no one prepares us. When body goes, end of everything, basically. So we have very strong taboos about the body, and, like anything goes wrong, we are so obsessed with trying to get repair to it and so on. And we forget also that sometimes sicknesses are a form of healing. And nobody tells us that. We are so in a hurry to get rid of it. And we rarely are told that, some sicknesses are flushing out is a way in which the body can heal, if you allow it space and time also. But something does not trust this easily. You see?
Yeah, I can really watch my mind like traveling in the past, wanting it to be like it was, or also traveling in the not existing future of what happens.
And are you not able, even in those moments, to rest in that space of neutrality? Is the movie of the mind so compelling that you stand no chance to just cut it free, let it run? Let it run. You don't have to try and erase it or suppress it. Let it be there. Just in the same way that you can experience like a tornado of thought activity in the infinity of your peacefulness and being at the same time. You know it or not. Sometimes mind can be, but inside it's very calm. Because you choose not to go with it. The minute you start to identify, become personal, then it feels like, there's going to be a crash. Something's going to go wrong. This is nature of the mind.
I can let the thoughts just come and go. That's
Yeah.
easier. But if I'm closing my eyes and getting into stillness, these symptoms seem to be getting stronger.
Yes. We can look at it in different ways. You can look at it in this figurative way, like somehow, it's as though the mind is saying, "You're not getting away with this," So let's pump up the volume or whatever it is that is.
Yeah.
Or it could be just in the greater silence, the things become much more clear or more loud. But whatever way, let it. Don't be trying to manage that. Simply just stay in that neutrality. You get used to it, and after a while, it feels complete. You see, there's something inside that feels, I should be worried, because being worried is a kind of safety.
It's true.
You understand, isn't it?
That's true.
It's something like, because then maybe if it's really, really bad and I'm just neutral, maybe then next thing is, I have a heart attack and I die. I should be worried, because my worry is mean like I'm onto it. You see? Many people are, like afraid of flying and so on. And then when the flight is going on, if some turbulence is there, they're not passengers anymore. They're pilots. And the fear grips you, and you're not able to somehow to keep your calm. It's like not 1 minute will pass without your vigilance. This is nature of the mind. Nature of the mind is, and something you say, neutrality. What neutrality? There's no neutrality. You have to be in gear, like this. And so this type of tendency, it can change also.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that it changes, but you recognize this place of stillness. Very often throughout the day, that's your place. But we don't acknowledge it, we don't recognize, and you don't confirm that every time the attention goes somewhere, it has to come and rest back into the emptiness. It rests there. Everything begins there and ends there. But no one gives any value to that at all. You already say that it's okay for you to see, you're observing the thoughts and the feelings, the traffic of them going and coming, and you're aware that you, the one who observed them, or that which observes them, is not coming or going, is not part of the traffic. But there are some sensations that come, and they will engage more energy, more will go towards them. Those you should use this, don't just survive this period, but use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Use these seemingly challenging moments as greater opportunities to recognize yourself. You see, it's easy with the easy ones. They're not really so much bother, you can just ignore. But as it gets more loud, it gets more personal, especially if it gets personal, then it's very difficult to stay neutral when the sense of the personal comes. And therefore, all problems actually are personal. It gets to the person gets caught up, feel the consequence, the impending consequence and the fears, and it just gets very entangled states come. So again, importantly, when they come, don't feel, oh, I wish this one doesn't come. You have to use this one, because if you transcend the effects and the impact of this one, then it will lose power. It starts to be on the reduce. Otherwise, we retain a condition. I'm fine up to here, but these ones, no.
Yeah, that was a bit my experience the last days. The easy ones, and then the back and forth or the movements. But with this special topic, it's really... But I can see it now. Yeah, I can see.
The body itself is not afraid of pain or even death, actually. It has no fear about it. It's in mind, and the mind is more. It puts all the pictures and.
Yeah.
I used to also have, from our children, we were growing up with these real appetites of horror movies and things like this. And in those days, it was Dracula, it's not anything, so, And so always there was these kind of things, and we're always fascinated to watch them, because from children growing up, in our culture, lots of people tell ghost stories, and we all get on the veranda and cuddle up and watch the ghost, listen to ghost stories, love it, until it's time for bed, and it's horrible. But anyway, that's we were doing like this, and then it occurred to me at one point, like when you see like a child, an innocent little child, going into some house, horrible house, walking in, and the music is all set up, dum, 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 dum. And you can't take your eyes off, like this, and you're saying, "Child, where are you going? Just come back, come back." And this, you put yourself in this place, like, oh no, who could let this child do this? It's not right, and then somehow it was like the feeling of intense loneliness and aloneness and just being so vulnerable. And then it just clicked into it, but the cameraman is there. I don't know how this come, this camera. And after this, all these fears and stuff, they went away. Nothing at all. So the cameraman is there. He's there also. And then I saw it was. It took all the fear away. And also, I went from a child going to funerals. People dying around the place. One time, one of my aunties came to visit us, and then she had newborn baby. And when she came, they said I had to give up my bed also, which at the time I didn't want to, for her and the baby. And then actually in the morning, the child was dead. The baby was dead. And I thought, the worst thing was on my bed. We are very selfish, And oh my God, like this. So we grew up with these type of, a lot of fears about it, plus the whole ghost tours, so hype it up. And then also recognize, because I've been, sometimes you see these bodies in the coffin. Oh no, it's like, why does life has to have this part of it? It's most horrible. Why? It just changes everything. It's horrible. Because I used to feel like there was somebody dead in the body. I thought, oh no. Look, she's there, dead. Oh, inside the body. And then again, inside it came now that the last breath is in or out. Out. That changed everything. Can you imagine if it was in? The last breath. Oh my God. So the one who took it is in there. And I saw this was the fear. So when you watch these things, you see it took a lot of things out. If you're not afraid to look, and also inside the consciousness, the grace is helping you. As soon as you offer up your life for truth, the inner teacher arises also, begins to clean your eyes and mind. And the fear goes, you see. Also from the place where you're seeing that everything that is of time is perceivable. Yeah. But that whatever it is that is perceiving, when I ask you, can that be perceived? It would mean that if it could be perceived, it has quality. If it has quality, it has limitation, you see. Then see, can it be seen, you see? Has anybody found it? It escapes every trap. Nothing can catch him. And then intuitively, spontaneously, you see, you know, no one has to tell you. It so floods your being, this understanding. You see. An aspect of myself belongs to time, this body, this time body, mortal body. But the immortal is residing in him for a while. And he's not worried about the things that happen in the body too much. Of course, if there's something there, some concern, you can address it if you want. But the anxiety and the fear that each little thing, the mind runs with it and blows it up into something, to really frighten you with.
Yeah, I can also notice one thing is very quiet about it. It's just, just seeing and no one to do anything about it, and the other part just something is wrong, needs to be healed, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Something there for you to still work with. We still need also something to push against also for a while. If it's all too easy, maybe you lose the value of it. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
It's interesting to hear you just talking about death, because I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it to the Montassage, because my mother has been dying for the last few weeks, and I've been following your teachings for the last 6 years, and it's as if the whole experience of death has been very much with me now in the last few weeks, watching my mother just slowly just leave the body. She has been in a nursing home for quite a number of years, and for the last year and a half I've just witnessed her just dying. The body was physically just dying, and sometimes I would sit with her just in silence and just feel into that part of me that is just presence. I find if sometimes I was going into my person mind, and she was suffering with dementia, so she was just living in a kind of a memories of her past, people that had been part of her family that had died. She was having all these experiences with them, so I was sitting with her and just engaging in this. And then over the last week or so before her death, I could just see this very progressive physical disappearance of the life force.
Yes.
And just the day that she died, being able just to sit with her in the room with my sister, and I could just feel this huge. It was like a huge presence. I can't really describe it in words, but there was tremendous peace in this room.
Yes.
3 days before this, she had been just breathing very heavily, not unconscious, but yet I could feel this huge resistance in the body, or whatever it is, the life force, the spirit, the mind. The mind had kind of taken over, so she was fearing death.
Yes.
And yet all the family were all gathering around. There's 8 of us, and we were all taking turns just to sit with her. And I was actually witnessing my siblings, and none of them would be kind of on this kind of path that I've been on, of kind of non-duality, but everybody was basically saying, it's okay to go now, Mum. It's okay to go. No reason to be afraid. And we were all just there. At times I was kind of stepping back and just aware of the fact that, this is not, my mother is not this body. This body is just a vessel that's holding the life force consciousness. And within the few hours before she died, just being there and feeling this huge sense of consciousness, just encompassing the whole room.
Yes.
And just slowly then she just slipped away. And then I was aware of I was witnessing then my body, the grief, all the emotions, even all of my siblings together, and there was all sorts of stuff surfacing, and anger was there, and there was very much a part of me that was able to move back into the witness, just witnessing all these emotions, the grief, the anger, and then this tremendous peace.
Yes.
I kind of a sense of there is really no death. I'm here and I'm looking at this body, and this isn't really her. And just even watching her, just being embalmed and put into this casket, and everybody coming and looking, and it really wasn't her, but it was probably just like a shell.
Yes.
That had kind of where her spirit had lived during this lifetime. Anyway, for me, it was kind of just a lesson in just kind of dying. And even though I've read a lot about death and dying, there was something very much experiential about this whole thing. Probably my own fear of death has diminished hugely as a result of this kind of very sacred space of just sitting with somebody and seeing the consciousness life force just slipping out of the body.
Yes.
But this kind of a sense that she's not gone. She's kind of with me.
Yes.
And she had the grace to go to allow me to come to Monte Sahaja, to the retreat. So as I say, I've been following you for the last 6 years, and I feel a gradual kind of sense of slipping more from the person to presence.
Yes.
And when I was reading the information about coming here, I think you used the analogy of a hen sitting on eggs, and I think my incubation is quite long, but there's a slow kind of hatching taking place.
Yes.
And it's a real joy and a privilege to be here.
Yes. Very, very. Thank you for this sharing. Beautiful also. And in fact, very often, you live in London or any city, intense activities there, and very often you hear people passing away or being shot or whatever it is like this. And many young people, are experiencing the first encounter with death of a friend or something like this, and suddenly taken away from them. And you see them. I've been to a few of these funerals, and young people, they are coming and seeing a body lifeless for the first time. And it has such a powerful impact. I call that the darshan of death. And you can see that the slate is wiped clean. Inwardly, the slate is wiped clean. They're in a state of total emptiness, actually. And the usual things that would be, on their minds, on projections, it's just not there in that moment. And it's an intensely powerful and profound experience. Yet the labeling of it, or the expectations, is that, this is very sad and we need to be, look what's happening, and the crying. And so that's also part of it. But it seems that is the label that we should wear or something. But I see that it's very important. When my son passed away like this while I was in India, and I had to come back immediately and So my daughter and my other son, it was their first encounter with this. I knew that I didn't want them to miss that, and to be so close, and to be to face that inside yourself. It's one of the most important experiences. And maybe for many people it was the starting point for their own search for truth. I say that death is one of God's great ideas, because it so terrifies the beings that they are compelled to search for something imperishable within themselves. And that is a tremendous trigger, you see. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. Come on. Hi.
Hi. There is something I need to know. 2 nights ago, I experienced that.
Keep the microphone a bit more close,
Right.
yeah.
I experienced that everything that happened in my life actually took place simultaneously. And at the same time, there was nothing happening. And I want to know if it's true.
When you say everything that happened in your life took place simultaneously, meaning at the same time they happened the same.
It was all in this moment. And I could see things as clear as now, from when I was a little child and all through my life. And it seemed that there was nothing that ever passed. It was all this moment. But if that's true, it actually could not have happened.
It is good. You are you are being graced with a very unique experience. The consciousness, the God gives each one unique insights into the great being, and this is a very familiar thing you're speaking for me. Because if you sit with that and don't offer it to your mind, but just to sit and be with this, it may reveal more and more to clarify that the impact of the experience, individual experiences, won't have such a deep impact on you. You see? It's almost as though nothing is happening. One of Papaji's famous books, Nothing Ever Happened, he said. And can you find the place in you where you can confirm this also? Because the mind is there to tell you, listen, I got dates. I've got photographs to prove, and like this. So on that level, we cannot argue on that level. But on a deeper level, you see, in the place of consciousness. Because until and unless the mind says something happens, experientially, nothing happened. You're perceiving of so many things. You can say, you can see all the beings in this room and feel the wind and so on. But it doesn't amount to an event or a happening not registered in consciousness as that. Until something is singled out and felt to be of particular value, and something press save. Then effectively, when does something happen? When the mind says this thing happened, choose to save it, then it's recorded as something happened. Your senses arise in the morning with the arising of consciousness, and as soon as the senses are open and the functioning of perception is taking place, and voluntarily or involuntarily, it is simply taking place. And whatever it is that is recorded or felt to be important, that also seems spontaneously to be taking place. And you don't have to say, okay, record. It's just happening according to one's inclinations and tendencies, and whatever desire you may have will tend to shape the direction in which your attention will go and what you will tend to record. But at a deeper level, it's insignificant from the place of consciousness. And yet at the same time, it seems to move in this world with a harmony. Like it understands this map. It moves in it very well. And yet deeply it doesn't feel, this thing has happened and I must do something like this. It's all very spontaneous.
It seems to me that what happened 10 years ago was also now. And Jesus Christ was also, must have been also this movement, because there is not more.
Yes.
But then, where is it, or how could it have ever happened if it's still now? It's just now. It's nothing that passed away. It was always the same.
For this, you have to sit and just be with it and let the consciousness reveal that fully for you. You see? Because to try and understand it with your mind, because the mind is working with time in a linear way. And it's saying, but yeah, in this linear way, Christ was 2,000 years ago, the Buddha was 2,500 years ago, Krishna 5,000 years ago, Rama 7,000 years ago, and they all happen now. If he's all now, where is he? You see? So it must be at a deeper level of consciousness where it has no particular report or time has no jurisdiction over that consciousness. It doesn't. Everything is now. But not the now of time. Not the now as in past, present, future. And then you begin to see there is no future also. And there is no past. And even what you call present also is a state also of mind even. But let it reveal that. Don't go hunting for it. It will reveal. If it has introduced this sense in you, or maybe it is only just hinted as like cosmic dust that sprinkled in your mind, and you felt. Then just let it be there. If it wants to reveal more, it will do it. If it is of any significance. You can only experience in the now. You cannot listen to a bird sing tomorrow. Everything you experience is in the medium of nowness. It's a different vein stream from linear time. So why I say don't follow that is that if you follow and it's not been revealed, then it tends to become a kind of mental, or you get a bit confused about it and you get stuck into that. Let it reveal it. If there's something, you say, if there's something really to really be understood in this, reveal this then. Otherwise, forget about it. That's good. Thank you. You can come there. Yeah. Okay. You don't want to? You seem not sure. Okay, let someone else come, and then when you're sure, you come then.
Thank you, beloved Father. Thank you so much. I'm here because you've carried me and it was as real that you were holding my hand throughout as I can feel now when you hold my hand. So after Rishikesh this year, life turned 360 degrees and everything collapsed, like from friends and everything, like just collapsing. And in fact, relating to the experience she was sharing, in Rishikesh, only after the satsang, I was sitting and suddenly
The fun for me, please.
there was this whole realization, or I don't know, it was like a vision that was shown, and it just seemed that nothing exists, and it was like everything is a dream, and suddenly all the people around started going like boop, 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 just disappearing, and then me, who was seeing it, also disappeared, and everything vanished into something that was nothing. That was like blank. And
How did it feel, all of this for you? Was it pleasant or very...
no, it was shocking, and then suddenly settled into something very expansive. So it just came like it was like a passing wind, and which I realized when I fell from where I was sitting, and I got up because suddenly there was no surface beneath or something, just something just fell. And it stayed with me because while she was just talking, that nothing ever actually happened. There's never been any birth or death. Nothing has happened. It's just been like still blank. What I don't know what to call it, but that space was as blank or empty or whatever, and it was all coming as if it was the mind creating me as a person, and then in my entire life, everything that is happening, that I am creating, manifesting, and experiencing just for this life to go on. And there's really this whole idea of the person that I'm living so that I can just keep creating. And suddenly it just struck me that I don't want any more of this experience. Why am I creating something else and then trying to live? And
Are you creating anything deliberately?
no.
Because spontaneously all of this is manifesting.
But just tired of experiencing any more of this, because for the last 2 days, the mind has been molesting, like...
Molesting who? Who possibly? You must go to the point where the molestation is and see who suffers it. And if there is something actually there or just imagined to be there.
That is also seen. And in fact, the day you narrated that story of Lakshman, and I just prayed to you that, in this life, just be that who can show me what is it, so that this cycle can just stop here.
Yes, it's not that necessarily the mind stop, like, sometimes it can happen, like you just cannot think. It will happen for a while, you cannot think. And for myself also, very often I was pretending to be thinking because I was expected to think. So, Muji, what do you think about this and this? So we should do this? And I was going, so what do you think? This is Wednesday. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. But I couldn't... I had to be faking it because it felt like, you don't think. And I didn't want to say, no, I can't, I'm not thinking, I can't think at the moment. So I used to, have to bluff it like that. He says, but what is your view about it? And I say, I feel that if we came from this side, it would really work much better. I say, you know what, that's exactly what I was feeling. So like this. So sometimes you can't actually think. But there's another space in which the mind stops. When people say the mind stops where there's no mind, and that's simply the place when there's a loss of interest. It becomes insignificant for you. When it becomes insignificant for you, anything at all, it simply does not register in consciousness. Thank God. Because everything that you see, you cannot, if you had to take a psychic photograph, a photograph of everything, an impression, and store it, it's a horrible idea. So there must be a lot of silence in your perceiving to be walking every day surrounded by this possibility of unending possibility for perceiving things, the beautiful flowers and the insects and the trees and the sky and the people and the songs, and it hasn't just flooded your being and turned your whole being into some claustrophobic space. Something is working for you, isn't it? That you can also have conversations with people and you don't come away all rattled and stuff. It just seems to happen. So when we speak about what's happening in a day, you may speak to two people, take two people out and say, okay, what is happening here? And one person will say just like, wow, it's like innumerable things are happening. I can't count. It's just, look at that fly, look at the bee. How many things are happening? And so, okay, what about you? What is happening? Nothing. And both are right from that perspective. The one is more like sage's mind. Nothing is happening particularly. They are not wanting to say something is happening or nothing is happening. They are not concerned with either end of that scale. You're abiding in total stillness. Not as I am abiding in it. You are one with it. So therefore, nothing is, you're not just reacting or even acting. It's like the vital force is doing it somehow. And you begin to see this. We don't have to say, I am not doing it. Just you are in your silence and you notice all these things. You're not troubled about it. So then a deep calm emanates from your being. It is not in a state of anxiety about anything. This is what I'm pointing to. The alreadiness of that in you that sometimes we're not detecting because too much energy is going to write the report about what's coming up in the mind.
Yes.
And that's how it managed to sort of stay alive, with this babbling on about life and so on, when it's just not, there's nothing significant about it, nothing important about it.
Yes, Father, because since last 2 days, it's like so much opening up, like suddenly every area, every experience as a person, and even as if it seems to be not of just this life, it seems like lifetimes that I've been seeing so much of arrogance, and that arrogance of specialness and unworthiness, like two sides of the pendulum, which were also
simply stay as nothing. Be nothing. Be nothing. If you say to the regular man on the street, listen, you're nothing. No. Who you're calling nothing, is it? The mind. But if you say to one who is awake, you are nothing, they will say, thank you. They only can acknowledge it. Not that they even need to say this. Because actually, it is the most beautiful. It is the most beautiful state. I give you an example of what happened. One day I was walking through the market, because I still live in the same town in London, where I went to school also there. Since leaving Jamaica, I went to school there. So many people living that you see around, they used to go to school together and so on like that. So one day I was walking in the marketplace, Electric Avenue. It's called Electric Avenue. A very electric place too, I tell you. And this was the place I used to sell incense in the beginning, you know. I'm walking through Electric Avenue, and I saw two of my schoolmates, in a way, arguing on the side of the road. Arguing, you know, about spiritual and philosophical points they're making, you know. One is a Muslim, one is a Christian, and you know, spit flying, everything, and very, very passionate. And people are gathered around. What I don't think they even noticed the people. They were so in it, like they're so trying to prove their point, like that, you know. And then it flashed in my mind, you know. I used to think like that. I used to think like that. I used to be passionate like that about something or whatever. And then I felt, but I don't have any of these feelings now. And for some strange reason, I wanted to reenact this. I wanted to feel, I said, look at them, you know, they really are locked orange, you know. So I went home, and I was living with my sister then. I had a nice room at the top, very, very quiet. And I tried to bring up things that used to stir up the mind and things like this, and to try to really kind of feel passionate. And really trying to see how that state could feel. And a voice came inside that said, "You were never like that." I said, no, but I was. I remember. I see the picture, you know. Speaking with Eric about so and so, and you know, very, very strong. So you were never like that. You only dreamt you were like that. And it was so striking for me. I said, look at that. I was dreaming. It is true. I've been dreaming myself to be this person who have all these ideas and stand up for what is right and all this stuff. And I really, in my being, could confirm it is true. It needed to hear this from somewhere inside. You're never like that. You only imagine, you only dream you are like this. And then it became clear that we are mostly dreaming our life. A great peace is here. It is like the perfume of one's very being. And a deep silence and joy is present. Memory seems to keep pushing up things which are yes but in there. And it seems to be very engaging for our mind and attention to keep being reminded of the times when you were not good enough, when you made a mistake, and how much you are likely to repeat this mistake if you keep on. So something is very, very much afraid of it.
My father, like yesterday, there's certain identities.
This one here. You come here for a minute. Come here now. Quick, come here now. Yes. Just sit here. Sit there and tell me what you're crying about. Go, sit there. Don't move. What are you crying about?
I don't know.
So, how can you trust this, you see? Therefore, here's the proof nothing ever happened. Now she's laughing. Do you identify with any of that? No? This is why I say, I don't believe anybody. Because what you say one moment, another moment is gone. I went home one time in London and I saw in those days, I had a telephone there, and when the message is there, it's kind of blipping red. I came back and I played the message, Muji, please be there, Muji, please be there. Emergency, life or death, Muji, please. So, oh my God, 1471. Brr, 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 brr. Oh my God, maybe he's dead already. Brr, 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 brr. Hello? Hello? And it would be like whatever the name, Patrick, is that Patrick? Yeah, Patrick. Oh, Muji, how are you? I said, I got a message from you just now, and you sound like you're dying. What happened? Oh, nothing, Muji. I just got like a 911 call here, and I'm ready to take my, safety kit and everything. This guy is nothing, Just something comes in the mind, and call Muji, and it's nothing, you see. Go and sit down and keep quiet. Okay. Okay. What is this? In my town, it's a really quite a colorful place in London. So what used to happen is whenever they find what they call crazy people, they'll put them on the number 3 or 159 bus to Brixton. Okay? And tell the driver or the conductor, tell them to get them off at Brixton. So we are used to this, and maybe they will start to do that with Mante Sahaja also.
Father, I don't know how to ask that very serious question of my life now.
Well, we have to be able to cut this and be present. No changes really happened.
So, this mind is just not stopping.
It's not stopping. No, because when you laugh, you can't think, can you? So.
So yesterday, Father, in the silence, there was a lot of identities and lot of ideas and personalities that were shown, that were created by me, and which I see as an external projection or manifestation. But there were few with which I couldn't, there was no space. And it seemed too true as a person. And at that time, it was torturous because there was something inside which was struggling. And
Do you know why all of that is? Because you have time for it. All of that because you have time for it. If you don't have time for it, you'll dispel it. It keeps coming because something is giving it a kind of validity, that it has a place, it has some importance, has significance. It's good to get to the bottom of it and all of that. So you can cut straight to the sage place in you, which throws all that out, all of it. In the entire waking state and its play, the content of the waking state consciousness, all of that, it sees as just, it's a package deal. It's all just playing itself out. You are the witness of it, and also you experience through the body, but nothing is so deeply significant there. Everything is coming in and out of focus, coming on the stage, going off the stage. And nothing is worth creating any intense relationship except that which is formed through grace. Just be like this, empty. You lose nothing at all. And in fact, you are left with such a state, a complete state of contentment and untroubled. Untroubled, you see. If something comes and it requires a deeper sense of concentration or something, the consciousness will bring that power to concentrate on it if it is needed. But don't go picking up things and then feel they're important. Watch that tendency. The natural state of mind is a state of neutrality, so that throughout the waking state, you should not be in gear, meaning that the attention is always with intention and to do something. It's always on duty. Some people feel like that as soon as they wake up, they are compelled into experiencing and to be somehow managing and shuffling through and making decisions and to be so caught up, while another enjoy the day in total serenity. Not necessarily with their hands in their pocket. They may also have to do, but they are not, all the activity they've understood is supported by the vital force. They don't have any extra activity which is being pushed in by the mind as a kind of projection. They have discerned those activities and they leave them alone. So therefore, the activities which are rightly manifested by the universal consciousness supplies the energy to express them. And when they have exhausted the reason for their coming, they collapse again into total silence, you see. There isn't the sense, I am doing, I am, I. It just happens, and there's a joy. In the same way, the sun is there. Without its light, there's no life on earth. The plants will not grow. There will be no food. There will be no joy, like this. And yet, the sun is not doing anything. It is not his job to look after the earth. Just by its mere presence and its radiance, its light, everything grows spontaneously in that. Our being is like that. By the light of your being, all this is seen like that. And it is taking care, some power is manifesting and taking care As I say, life takes care of life. But the life born out of personal projection needs a lot of energy to push it. And so it feels like life is hard. But life is not hard. Life simply is. And it is unfolding spontaneously out of itself. If you want to force ripen something, you may have to create the conditions for that. And this is all it seems that mankind knows these days, to manipulate and to hasten and to push things beyond their true time, to be ready. We spend all night up and sleep in the day, all the different things like that. But it's also when you relax into the understanding that this also is an expression of consciousness somehow. We begin to see that, like it's been said, the characters in a book cannot determine what book the author is going to write next time. They cannot complain about it. They have no real autonomy. Their seeming autonomy is the creative mind of the author itself. Some see life like this. It's simply unfolding. And the mind, it is inscrutable also, because the mind cannot fathom, cannot figure it out. It's fresh. Your life also can exhibit this spontaneity. Life is spontaneity, in fact. But also there's a place for planning and for, forecasting and so on. When it is deemed right, there's a time for everything. And there's one who lives this, who knows this, who is in total harmony and synchronicity with this movement. Why is this one not you? Not everything in a life can be explained and everything you do is perfect. No, there will seem a lot of things where mistakes are made and a wrong turn happens or whatever that is. But still, in the one who is free, they're not bound by that. Something is very light and very open. And mistakes get corrected very quickly without the loss of energy running after solutions which are projections from the mind. Your life could be a lot more kind to itself. There's not so much to do and not so much to work out. You see? And yet, this also cannot be adequately explained. The most important thing is not how much you learn, but how much you are in harmony with the totality. No such thing can happen that anyone is totally out of harmony with the totality to the extent that it matters. Because even the most striking disharmony is within the great harmony. No mistake can be made that God will go, No, I don't know if that is. Everything is part of the grand play, and space is made for it. Mistake is also part of wisdom that allows consciousness to grow, to ripen, and to learn to make higher choices or something in the play of life until it's wise enough to see it as a dream, which doesn't mean that it dismisses it. Then it sees the dream as part of the real, temporary expression of the real. Mm-hmm. So don't try to work anything out too much. It's a hoax. It's not true. You're trying to figure out, and it's not.
That's exactly what I wanted to know, because after yesterday's evening satsang, I realized that it's just the mind. It's just bringing out more for me to just keep engaging and keep feeling that it's, oh my God, it's this.
It's not responsible for your engaging in it. You see, you bought the seat and it will bring the show. You see, if you are not there, he's not there. Because he cannot be there without you.
Yes.
So there must be some agreement, some kind of sponsorship or something. We don't readily admit this, but if there was no interest, then you would not even notice mind. Look how many things you don't notice. So many things we don't notice. And nothing wrong with that, because you don't have to notice everything. There are just few things that keep coming, that seem to hold the beingness kind of hostage. Meaning that when they arise, you may call them some deep latent tendencies or something, that when they are stirred up, you are so caught by them that they effectively render you blind, and you're so caught in that, or you, meaning that the consciousness, with a certain amount of hypnosis or identity as a person, will get caught in that. Because for the self there can be no vasanas. We're talking about all this. If it takes us another 2 or 3 days, during those three days that it takes to find out, you're still the self, which you have not found out.
So there's a recurring fear that's not going, and it's some sort of an arrogance, and it seems as if
I say stay as the self, does it have any meaning for you? Has to mean something, no? Stay as the self. Stay as the self, and what will happen? All this is gone. But we have a fascination, a belief with it, a relationship with this identity, and you want to keep working on it and correct it. You see? I used to tell this kind of example that there was a ghost that was suffering from anorexia, and was searching for all around for someone who could heal this anorexia. He spent a lot of, ghost hours hunting and searching, and then finally, when all of that has been all sorted out, only to be found it doesn't exist. We're spending a lot of time working on a version of ourselves that we just imagined. It's only a question of how ready we are to see that. Sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes, you see, because actually we don't make judgments or discernments about something, whether something is right or wrong, on the basis of something being true or untrue. What really seems to matter is how attached we are to it. And if we are attached to the thing, we're not readily wanting to give it up. And sometimes that's what is happening. We have a certain notion about the self, and we just want our version. You want the truth, but on your terms. I want it to kind of work out like this. You see? But the thing is blatantly clear now. But we want to experience it through your concepts. So this is what I've seen, that working on the person. Of course, there is a time in our dynamic life we are compelled to look at things and to work them through, because it matters also. It matters because, whatever is the if the tree is good, the fruit has to be good and it has to taste nice. You cannot pick bananas from an apple tree. So something has to be consistent. If you feel in your heart this true peace and love or something like this, then in your actions you display selfishness and arrogance, then something doesn't tally up. So the dynamic life is really the tasting of the cake. It has to. You get a beautiful chocolate cake, but then it tastes like sardines or something. No, actually, so it's not a chocolate cake. It only has been presented like chocolate cake, but it smells like sardine. So it cannot be chocolate cake. So if you are really present as the self, somehow it does have a fragrance in the dynamic world. You'll be much more open, more tolerant, more compassionate. You'll see that the same self is in each being, in each form. It's something just must carry through. It's not like this dynamic expression of life is just a dream. It's no. It is the testing ground for what you say, because sometimes our understanding is merely intellectual. And if it's only intellectual, there will be some discrepancy in the world in which you have to tangibly taste the fruit of your own concepts. So they work together. The dynamic and the non-dynamic, they work together. You see, this is important, of course. So there are times when you will choose to correct a behavior or a certain pattern or something like this. But that is happening in the wider and deeper background of the unchanging awareness. This is seem a paradox, you see. We will continue maturing and refining in consciousness, but against the background of unchanging awareness. You see, we are compelled by the law of life and the functioning of the vital force that we must work in this field of the dynamic consciousness also. Yes. But not to the extent where we are obsessed about the identity, because that identity keeps changing. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's very good, very good. Let me just change things a little bit. I read maybe one or two of these, and then we can keep abreast with this now. Dearest beloved Sri Muji, as I continue to follow your pointings, will they ultimately have us totally step out of all dream states into total liberation in unity with God? Rendering reincarnation unnecessary. This is the deepest desire of my heart. Let me drown in your love, dear Master, with deepest love and gratitude. Desi or Desai in Mexico, Desi, what is the pronunciation? Desi? Desi in Mexico, okay. As I continue to follow your pointings, will they ultimately have us totally step out of all dream states into total liberation in unity with God? I don't want to say anything like that. Why not save it for as a surprise? Why don't you keep on? Because as you are going, as I say, this is a tree that bears immediate fruit. So that you don't have to wait until next 3 months, you have some feedback about it. No, as soon as you watch from this place, your an inner environment and the ambient of that environment is completely changed. Instantly, you see. And I'm here so that while you're here, we have enough time to prove it like that. If you only hold it upstairs in the attic or something, then we won't get very far. You would say you only be arguing on a philosophical kind of layer. But if you really imbibe what I'm pointing, you can see immediately that when you say I, and you associate the sense I with person, with body and mind, taste the experience, and then again starting from the same place of I, take that I to be consciousness, and taste the experience and see, is there a difference or not? And how much time do you need for this little exercise? Then you will see. immediately, you see. Immediately. So it's like the self cannot be practiced. It can only be recognized. It does not need developing. It can only be recognized. It is in the recognition that we call sadhana. The recognition and actually watching the tendencies of the mind to be pulled off into some cul-de-sac or something like that, and not stay in the main artery. Don't go off into little veins. Stay like this, and everything is clear for you. So, as I continue to follow your pointings, will they ultimately have us totally step out of all dream states into total liberation in unity with God? Make a start, at least, and report on the road as you go. If you sit in the chair and speculate, when we go to the moon, is there trees are growing there, or no, something feels I have to go there anyway. Make a start, and within your very steps, from your toes, your toe will start to teach you something. Otherwise, it just goes into the mind that we've been collecting information, and truth is not information. So it's saying also, when this or totally step out of all dream states into total liberation in unity with God, rendering reincarnation unnecessary. Yeah. Meaning that if you have not kind of completed somehow your seeing, the momentum of the urge for completion will push you into another form to carry on this adventure of seeing or this. Are you a reincarnation now? So this is the deepest desire in my heart. Let me drown in your love, dear one. Then if it is the deepest desire, you must make a start. That will be the proof that you really take it seriously. You make a start. And as you go, grace will start. You can't get the grace before you start. You start, and then it shows you, I have enough, at least sufficient faith to start. And as you start to go, you find that your questions are falling, you see. The questions are only there when you are stagnant and you're wondering. And it's not genuine, your question is not genuine. Make a start. Let's see. And, my beloved Father, thank you for your full power presence on this retreat. I am fully inside your heart, in your grace, in your boundless love. There is full trust and understanding inside my being for all what you say and pointing. I see strong identification of me with being your devotee, and even it is experienced in the most beautiful and humble way. Please cut the umbilical cord of any duality that swallow me completely in you. I said, this life is all yours. Everything I am is all yours. You know this. I love you, Guruji. Monica Valo. Monica. Macedonia. Yes. I see strong identification of me with being your devotee. And even it is experienced in the most beautiful and humble way. Please cut the umbilical cord of any duality and swallow me completely in you. Just keep following the pointing. It's clear enough. We have condensed it in the shortest paragraph. 1 or 2 sentences. 1 or 2 sentences pointing like this. The truth must be such, so simple, that even you can get it on your last breath. You see? It should not be so complex that you have to figure out and, I've got to go away for a 3 months course, but I'm dying today. What can is there anything I can achieve? Is there anything we can do with this little time we have, like I was saying before? And most people you say, I've only got 1 hour of my life. What can I do with it? People say, no, it's nothing you can do. Have a beer. What you can do with 1 hour? Half an hour. Half an hour? No. Nobody will admit you for anything. We can't do anything with half an hour. 15 minutes. You're joking. Nothing you can do of any value in 15 minutes. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Oh, not enough time to say goodbye. If you are somebody, like I say, like Usain Bolt, we can do something with 10 seconds. World record. But you won't even get the medal and finish. What you can do with 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6. Just waiting now. Nothing attainable. It must be so that even the last second, it can come in the mind, that clarity. So therefore, it cannot be so complex that you have to put complex theories about how to be yourself. That is a hoax. That's a fraud. It cannot be like that. It must just be a pointing. Even a knock on the head might do it. Isn't it? Beloved Guruji, I have a question. Will the person be healed by discovering the self, or will the person always stay, only losing its influence onto the state of presence? Are we just stuck with the person? Even when you wake up, still the person is still there? Eh? If you are 4 years old and it's your birthday tonight, and then you're 5, can you go back to being 4? Can you still be 4 when you're 5 to his 5th birthday? Can you go back to being 4? So when you've transcended the person, he can still be there. Transcending means he was never really there. Just means it was all imagined, you see. Is this difficult to understand? Is it? With your guidance, the door to the stateless state of the self inside opens. Discovering this, resting there, and confirming this true state again and again is the highest and the only real home. With you, as my master, I become able to discover this resting space inside, and it becomes easier to find back with your grace, and by following your pure light in the psychological realm of the body-mind state are personal traumas which also come into play from time to time. A child which experienced rejection, control, and also violence in the past, in the realm of the self, all traumas disappear, and there is no hurt child anymore, but peace, joy, freedom, and love. So are the past experiences of childhood also only dream? Yes, of all, even today we are still dreaming actually. I'm going to go back, we talk about this, because see, some of you are still... Will they vanish totally in the light of love that you are? Beloved Master, at your feet, full-heartedly, Jutta from Germany. A good question, no? So, it maybe is a good point we can look at just for a minute or so. Sometimes we are holding on to some hurt or something. Like it seems like it can't get out. And no matter what people say or whatever, it seems like I can't get it, this hurt. And the memory. And sometimes also I find in our present day, more and more people are coming forward with childhood memory of abuse and so on. It seems almost like a fashion. Like you have to, somebody, oh yes, when I was a child I was abused and so on. That explains why I am the way I am today, all this type of thing. We don't know. So, there is a sense that this is real, and I don't want it just plastered over by a nice spiritual experience that makes me feel like I'm okay. It never happened. Because I know it happened. And I won't let it go that easy. Easy like this. This is something that happens also. Am I on my own talking like this? Because we do sometimes feel like, some big injustice has taken place in my life. And that has to be addressed, has to be rectified, put right. And then I can be free of all of this thing. Then suppose the people who perpetrated these actions are now dead and gone. You're going to go dig them up and ask them, listen, apologize. How will it be? Because I have met people who seem insistent. And that's why I say don't make anniversaries out of your pain. Because some people, they remember, they're like candles on the day. Like their pain has a birthday. This is 3 years now. You see, like this. This is a kind of a strange twist that we create. It's not life to create and give to you and like this. No, something is happening here. And we are old enough to start to look at this. Because some people, out of very painful experiences, they develop great strength, great openness and empathy with other beings. And others are kind of like very unforgiving. You see? And you hurt your own self. And set up a big barrier around yourself. Now, suppose it came along an opportunity to say, all of this, we can take you out of all of this. And then you say, well, to be honest, I've lived with this for 30 years. Don't tell me about being perfect and all this. What to do? Because it has happened, no? It does happen, where something feels you can't let it, almost stuck, almost like a feeling. I don't want to let it go. Even if Mr. God comes and says, darling, relax a little bit about it. So no, not until he apologized. So this, there is something in this. We're having a bit of a laugh, and it's good to laugh about it, because sometimes you might find that actually, it's actually quite funny. And I saw one program, because I do watch TV, I have to tell you like this, and the program was called Neighbors from Hell. Okay. So, as it happened, there was one. Two people, they were friends to start with, and they bought homes in the country next to each other, and families and everything there, the children growing up there. And one of them planted some cypress trees as a hedge, and didn't cut it. So the thing grew up like Jack and the Beanstalk. It just kind of went up and up and up. And the friend next door said, look, I'm sorry, man, you've got to cut this stuff. You're stopping the sun from coming into my garden. And he says, well, no, I don't want to cut. I like it. So it started as something like that. And then years when they start to really fight about it, and the one wouldn't cut it. And then the wives stopped talking to each other as well. Then the children were playing together, and then the children were told not to play with each other, and then it just became a very nasty thing. And years, this hedge is growing up and up and up and up. And the anger between them is going up and up and up. And so in the end, I don't know, one must have cut the tree or something like this. And they're in court. They are going to go to court. And in court, one of them was asked, so how did all this get started? And he couldn't remember. So, so when did this all start? And he kept doing like this. It turned out he couldn't remember anything at all. When he'd written all of it on his hand, because he couldn't remember, and they told him that if the judge asks you this, you must answer this. Can't remember, and still holding his anger, you see. Isn't it strange? Yeah. Well, but you were friends before, yes or not? Yes. And when did you start the problem with the edge? At what point? This is how bad it can get, and worse also than that. That we are still holding on, then you go to a party, and this other person is there, and they tell a joke, and you start to laugh, and then you remember, no, I shouldn't laugh because I don't like you. So the mind does all these things. Do we need to be faithful to such behavior, you see? So, if you had the chance to jump over the moon, meaning to jump out of this state completely, and it is so natural, isn't it? We should rejoice that the whole thing is imagined. Some don't want to take the risk. It might be true. Okay, do this one more. Namaste, dear Muji, dear Guruji. I was in Rishikesh in March, and I was in Rishikesh in March? I wasn't. I was in Rishikesh in March, and I didn't have the chance to ask you to. Sorry. And I didn't have the chance to ask you two important questions. So these questions is from March. Question one. What is the difference between mind and I? So since March, who have you been living as, mind or as I am? It's my mistake. And second, if ultimately there is no I, who gets enlightenment? The one who was in Rishikesh in March will get the enlightenment. Or, thank you, Guruji, Adriana from Belgium. So, okay. What is the difference between mind and I? Mind and I. What's the difference between mind and I? Until the I arises, we don't know what mind is. Until I arise, then the meaning of mind means nothing at all. I and consciousness, they are one. In fact, the consciousness is present even before even the sense I am arises there. Sometimes you wake up in the morning or so, you don't feel any identity at all. But there is consciousness and there is perceiving. But soon identity comes, you see. Mind is more I would say, the name and form department of the self. When we start to see and think about this and the relationships between this and that and time, duration and forms and design and relationship, I and you and other, this comes mind. if ultimately there is no I, who gets enlightenment? When there is no I, there is no enlightenment. There is no concept of enlightenment. Just only the natural remain. The self doesn't call itself enlightened. But let's look at I, you see, because how far can I be used? The I am itself is the godly principle. From the seed of I am, all the universe comes and is perceived. Don't dismiss that. Who gets enlightenment? If getting it means somebody having it, nobody get it. Only Mr. Nobody get it. It seems the paradox may be strange. Is this all a big joke? I don't see it like joke, like ha 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 joke. But it certainly is a kind of is a mystical thing, I would say. But for whom is the mystical even? When the mind is here and consciousness is functioning in the belief that it is the body, and then the mind is playing like friend and foe, then all of these things can come into play. This and that, high and low, heaven, hell, demons and angels, and you and me, and death and life and afterlife, and all of these things can come into play. In deep sleep, none of it is there also. But you must be there in deep sleep, because we enjoy sleep. No? So some consciousness must be there to enjoy sleep. There's no identity, no relationship, no person, no belief system. We go willingly into this state every day. We make the best environment, buy the best bed, in order to leave all this, including the bed. And we spend almost as much time in sleep as in the waking state. Yet we have no record of it, nothing to show for it. And yet without it, the waking state would be a mess. These questions that you ask, they are more intimate questions than this. Because if the answer is given through some concepts, it will do you no good, except in the place where concepts matter to you. First, find out even the one, you see, who is asking these questions even. What is it in the one who's asking this question? Could it be some ultimate thing in me that's asking this question? Or is it what I call my mind is asking this question? Does it really want to know? And what is it? Is my mind and me the same or different? These are more intimate questions. And if you stay with just one of them, even if you don't know any answer with it, but just keep being reminded of your question and keep quiet, something will begin to stir inside you. And from the depth of your being, a clarity, an understanding begins to form. And be with that is the most honest and simple thing. And it will grow. You don't have to go run to the library or to Google or something. You can go in. Start with the sense of being, which is natural for everyone. The sense I am. It is not a practice. Start with that sense. It is there already. The I am is not a person. It has no denomination. It has no religion. It has no belief system. It's a pure sense of presence. Start with that. Be one with it. and don't allow it to connect up with any concept or any intention or story. Try to just keep it by itself, let it be there by itself, like a kind of voluntary, solitary confinement. Confine it, just be one with it. In the beginning, we may feel strong tendencies to connect with other thoughts. They seem to want to come in to play or to create a relationship. But your awareness of them is enough. Don't go with them. Stay only in that undivided state of presence. If you feel for a moment or two something gives in and you're in thought again, as soon as you recognize it, pull it back into the state of presence. Be one. Don't think about anything or work anything out. Just abide in the state of being, of just presence. It's not a doing place. It is an already place. It's already here. And gradually like this, the pull to engage with thought activity and with mind projections, it will begin to cool off. And the force of presence will seem to expand. In that expansion, there will be a great relaxation and pleasantness. And you will have the natural feeling to want to continue in that. But in the beginning, you can do this for 7 minutes or 10 minutes if you can bear it like that. In the beginning, sometimes there's a tendency to try too hard. But even that wanting to try hard is also perceived in presence. There's nothing to try. Simply avoid going with the mind stream and staying just with the natural sense of presence. It is the way in which we recognize our existence, the feeling I am. Nobody gave it to us. In every language, this intuition is there. Just the sense of being, and stay with the sense of being. If you concentrate only on the sense of being, it will begin to expand in profundity, in depth. In every direction you'll feel like a great opening. And it will be very pleasant. And just stay with it. Nothing to work out, nothing to work at. Simply be one with it. Soon you will feel a great sense of peace and a great pleasantness, a beautiful serenity will be felt. Don't celebrate. Stay as presence. Innumerable sensations may start to come, beautiful ones, but don't combine yourself with any. Let them show themselves. Let them come and go as they will. Notice you are not coming and going, but the witness of all that comes and goes. Enjoy. But don't grasp, don't clutch, don't cling. There's nothing to cling to. Very spontaneously, you will begin to feel as though you are space, like space, with a subtle outline of a person. But just space. And that subtle skin will make you feel as though you're space moving in space. But there will be no content, no history. And contrary to what we may imagine or fear, there's great space and great joy. And soon a love, an all-encompassing love, is also emerging in you. It's not coming from outside, from the very within, from the innermost place. It comes. And you will know God. Not think God. You will know in the most beautiful way. And not as an object. then the old way, the old regime of thinking will be far, far away from you. The mind may still be perceived, but just like in the full daytime when you can see the sun, and sometimes the moon is there at the same time, but you will not be attracted to the moon. You will not be attracted to the old idea of self. It will be like a clearing outness, a vanishing, a thinning away. But there will be no grief. You're coming home. You're the perceiver of all sensations, you see. Even silence you hear and perceive. You perceive form and formlessness, light and dark. But they don't cling to you. Nothing clings to you.
My problem is I just can't feel this I am present.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Would you please
Yes.
show me one time so that I can
Right
taste
now.
it?
Right now. Right now. You know you are, don't you? You know you exist, don't you? Don't concentrate on this. You don't need to concentrate. You know you got up from this place and walked. You're aware of that?
Yes.
That happens through your I am. That happens through your awareness of being. You know you exist. This knowing that you exist, that is what is referred to as your I amness. You say I. When you say I, it really refers to I am, to consciousness. I am means consciousness. It means existence. I exist. And I'm aware of my existence. The I am doesn't have to keep saying I am. Even when you hear the word I am, you were already there before the words come, I am. It is the most natural thing. You're a living being.
Yes, I can feel my body is warm.
Yes, you can feel your body is warm. You can feel when your voice is speaking, when you're speaking, you can hear the speaking.
Yes.
There's something that is not speaking.
Yes.
Yes, that is your I am.
This is it.
Yes.
Ah! Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I will sit down now and.
Okay. It is good. It is
I'm
good that
very
you
happy
clear.
with this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Everything is taking place in that consciousness, in that awareness field. You see? And I'm happy that you come like that, because somebody else might be a bit embarrassed to ask. You ask on behalf of those, of everybody. Because sometimes we hear this, I am. And you think, oh my God, I wonder what that's like. Well, it's you. Nobody taught it you. Your parents didn't tell you, say I am. Nobody taught. The consciousness announces itself in the form, I am. I'm here. I exist. But it didn't announce any other information. Just on this I exist awareness, everything else is perceived. Every single thing that somehow feels important or whatever, even the things that don't get recorded, you perceive momentarily. They come and go in the space of your awareness. You see, everything happens because of your I amness. It's in your I amness also that the feeling of sleep comes. It is perceived in your I amness itself. Even when the consciousness is going, Sometimes you feel my consciousness is gone. It is watched from the I am. Very good. You over there? Come. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes.
I need a traduction. I'm French.
Français. You will do. You doesn't trust your own French? Maybe not at the moment.
Hein?
Si.
Tu peux aider aussi. Merci. Um, um, J'ai fait l'expérience de qui je suis.
I made the experience of who I am,
Et je sais le reconnaître quand je me laisse embarquer par mon mental.
I know how to recognize when I get sucked by my mind,
Yes.
Mais et aussi j'ai vu l'espace. J'ai reconnu l'espace d'où émergeaient les pensées, les émotions.
but I also recognized and saw the space where the thoughts arise from.
Yes.
Mais
Who are you, the seer of this?
Qui es-tu, l'observateur de cela?
Begin. Because the fact already you have stated that you perceive that.
Parce que les faits, tu les as énoncés, que tu perçois cela.
Yes. Now we only need to kind of to catch hold of who it is that perceive this, these things.
Donc il faut qu'on attrape celui qui perçoit cela.
Is it personal?
Est-ce que c'est personnel?
Je dirais que ce sont les deux. Il y a l'aspect de la personne, du moi,
I would say there are both. There is the aspect of the person, me,
et quelque chose d'autre
and something else
qui voit avant de voir, si je peux le dire ainsi.
that sees before it sees. If I can put it that way.
Et en fait, c'est le changement. En fait, c'est. Je suis ici parce que il y a le. Je vis. Comment dire je suis un peu fatigué de vivre le changement d'état en continu, en fait.
In fact, I'm here because I'm getting a bit tired to live this change of state.
To live the change of space?
No, state, répète, s'il te plaît.
En fait, je sens encore les identifications au moi.
I still feel the identification with the me,
Yes.
Qui fait que je me laisse embarquer dans les émotions.
which make me get pulled by my emotions.
This is where the tiredness is coming from.
C'est de là que vient la fatigue.
Tout à fait.
Yes.
Yes, yes. If he is tired of the oscillations of that motion,
Si tu es fatigué des oscillations de ces émotions, de ce mouvement,
as you observe that with detachment,
quand tu observes cela avec détachement,
you will not lose energy to the observing.
tu ne perdras pas d'énergie dans l'observation.
Because when you perceive ordinary things in life, like looking at these things, I can look at it in detail without losing any energy.
Quand tu regardes les choses ordinaires dans la vie, comme cet objet, et qu'il y a un détachement, tu ne perds pas d'énergie.
I start to lose energy when I want to create a relationship with it.
Je commence à perdre de l'énergie quand je crée une relation avec l'objet,
When it starts to matter,
quand ça prend de l'importance,
or when I identify with it.
ou quand je m'identifie avec.
Yes. When you don't identify, you don't hemorrhage any energy.
Quand tu ne t'identifies pas, tu ne perds pas d'énergie.
This is why for many awakened beings, they don't sleep so long.
C'est pourquoi, pour beaucoup d'êtres éveillés, ils ne dorment pas beaucoup.
Because the functioning of personalized perception is exhausting.
Parce que le fonctionnement... please?
When you perceive with personhood, with identity,
Quand tu perçois avec une identité, avec une personnalité,
you expend much more energy.
tu dépenses beaucoup plus d'énergie.
This is why I asked him, see, that which is seeing the person and the person's experience, let's put some attention on that.
C'est pour ça que je te demande de mettre ton attention sur celui qui perçoit.
Be one with that.
Sois un avec cela.
Yes. Be only with that
Sois uniquement avec cela.
for a while, even for some persistently, consistently, even for half an hour. Try and just be with that.
Essaye d'être uniquement avec cela pour un certain temps, même une demi-heure.
Yeah. It has no story.
Ça n'a aucune histoire.
It's only a space where perceiving takes place.
C'est seulement un espace duquel la perception se manifeste.
But the functioning of perception does not affect it.
Mais le fonctionnement de la perception n'affecte pas cet espace.
Yes. Can we locate this place? We are aware of it.
Est-ce que tu peux localiser cet endroit?
Actuellement, non.
Right now, no.
No. Give another example.
Je donne un autre exemple.
Just like you can look around you in the room,
De la même façon que tu peux regarder autour de toi dans la pièce,
you can look at all the faces
tu peux regarder tous les visages
without being distracted,
sans être distrait,
without feeling tired.
sans être fatigué.
But if I ask you to remember the faces and the names,
Mais si je te demande de te souvenir des visages et des noms,
you'll become tired.
tu commenceras à être fatigué.
Yeah. When there is intention,
Quand il y a une intention,
it creates tension,
ça crée une tension.
and then comes exhaustion.
Et ensuite, épuisement.
Yes. Yeah. Nature is already helping. It's already functioning like that.
La nature nous aide, ça fonctionne déjà comme ça.
Because we have to move in the life with so many things that you could be perceiving.
Parce qu'on doit se déplacer, bouger dans la vie avec tellement de choses qu'on doit percevoir
And without being distracted.
sans être distrait.
Then you must observe when you become distracted,
Ensuite, il faut que tu observes quand tu deviens distrait,
when something begins to matter too much.
quand quelque chose prend de l'importance pour toi.
And nothing matters more to us than identity.
Et rien n'a plus d'importance pour nous que l'identité.
Yeah. when you begin to observe the identity
Quand tu commences à observer l'identité,
rather than observe as identity,
plutôt que observer en tant qu'identité,
everything changes.
tout change.
Je crois que j'ai pas. J'observe encore en tant qu'identité,
I still observe as identity,
Yes. But you must observe that also.
mais tu dois aussi observer cela.
It's subtle. It's subtle. It is a subtle thing,
C'est subtil,
what I just said. But there is space there.
mais il y a de l'espace là.
But in normal life, we are not compelled to go to that space
Dans la vie normale, on n'est pas amené à aller dans cet espace.
because nobody requires it from us
Parce que personne ne nous le demande
to be so subtle.
d'être aussi subtil.
So we can function from the level of personhood, and you can do everything in the human world only from personhood.
Dans le monde normal, on peut fonctionner du point de vue de la personne.
Yes. So there must be something that is compel you to go beyond the personhood,
Mais il y a quelque chose qui t'appelle à aller au-delà de la personnalité.
and I don't mean beyond that way.
Et je veux
I mean beyond this way.
d'aller au-delà, pas vers l'extérieur, mais vers l'intérieur.
Yeah. And to experience the place of total neutrality,
Et d'expérimenter cet espace de totale neutralité,
which is not dead.
qui n'est pas mort.
Yeah. It gives life to life itself,
Il donne vie à la vie elle-même,
but it is not confused by life.
mais ce n'est pas confus par la vie.
The mind will try to attack this, you see.
Ton mental va essayer d'attaquer cela.
It will say, what's the point?
Il dira,
What is it useful for?
à quoi ça sert?
Because the mind is a trader.
Parce que le mental est un marchand.
Yeah. He wants what can I get out of this?
Il veut savoir qu'est-ce que je peux bénéficier de cela.
And it feels it can get nothing from nothing.
Et il sent que je peux rien obtenir de rien.
So it is not attracted to that state, you see.
Donc il n'est pas attiré par cet état.
So if there's an attraction, it's coming from someplace.
Donc s'il y a une attraction, ça vient d'un certain
It
endroit.
must be coming from the beingness itself.
Ça doit venir de l'être lui-même.
The thing is realizing this state, which is beyond the personhood state,
Le fait de réaliser cet état qui est au-delà de la personnalité,
it doesn't make you ineffective in the personhood state.
ça ne te rend pas inefficace dans l'état de la personne.
In fact, you are much more present in that field.
En fait, tu es beaucoup plus présent dans ce champ d'action.
You cannot be a victim of that field.
Tu ne peux plus être une victime de ce champ.
Why not be in there now? What effort is required?
Pourquoi ne pas être là maintenant? quel effort cela requiert.
Any resistance from the mind is only mental.
Toute résistance du mental
It's only mental. It's only a mental. It's
toute
not.
résistance vient seulement du mental.
It is no distance.
Il n'y a pas de distance,
Only the distance of a thought,
seulement la distance d'une pensée,
or implied by thought.
ou impliquée par une pensée.
J'ai pas de pensée particulière.
I have no special thought.
I have no special
Thought?
thought.
J'ai plutôt une grande peur et beaucoup de peur.
I have a big fear, a lot of fears.
Mhm. Your mind has the fears.
Ton mental a la peur.
You are without fear.
Toi, tu es sans peur.
But this must become clear.
Et cela doit devenir clair.
The constructed self is with fear,
Le soi construit est avec peur,
but the natural self is without fear.
mais ton soi naturel est sans peur.
It can taste fear
Ça peut goûter la peur, apprécier,
through the dynamic identity,
à travers l'identité dynamique,
but it cannot stay.
mais ça ne peut pas rester.
Only a moving, a momentary sensation.
Juste une sensation momentanée.
If you would like to go into this a bit more and you are feeling that the language thing slows it down, I can give him a bit more time privately or something like that.
Si tu as envie d'aller plus profondément dans cette direction, mais que tu sens que le problème d'aspect du langage, ça prend un peu de temps et te fatigue, on peut aller en privé, on peut explorer ça.
Vous voyez, oui.
Oui. Yes. Yes.
So French. Okay, we can talk. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel okay, we take one more. It's 12:21. If anybody's interested, who? Strongly. Who? It needs to be focused and not just domestic. Who is there? Who is there for this one? Who's coming? You, yeah, yes.
Namaste, Mudra.
Namaste.
I need your help with Russian translation. For me, it's very hard to explain.
Yes, it's good, it's good.
До вчерашнего дня все было хорошо.
Until yesterday, everything was fine.
Я имею в виду за период ретрита.
I mean, for this period of retreat.
Yes, I know, yeah.
Но после того, как ты меня обнял,
But after you hugged me,
что-то произошло.
something happened.
И вчера пришел домой и поднялся страх смерти.
I came back home, and then the fear of death came up.
И у меня с детства этот страх.
Since my childhood, I have this fear.
И я никогда не верил, что все может закончиться этой жизнью.
And I never believed that everything can finish with this life.
Yes.
А сейчас так сложно поверить, что это возможно.
And now it's so hard to believe that it's possible.
Yes. It's an intuition children have. Many.
Это интуиция, которая у всех детей есть.
Like something is imperishable here.
Что есть что-то, что вечно,
Yeah.
что не умрет.
But as we grow up and become stupid, sorry. No, but
Но
in
когда
time
мы
as we grow up,
вырастаем, мы как будто бы глупеем.
As we become more sophisticated in our thinking, something.
Нет, мы становимся как будто бы очень изощренными в нашем, в том, как мы думаем.
Something seems to overshadow that simple intuition in us.
И что-то начинает затемнять ту естественную интуицию, которая есть у нас.
И вчера я задал вопрос, а кто боится смерти?
And then yesterday I asked myself a question: who is afraid of death?
И сегодня уже на начале сатсанга
And today, at the beginning of the satsang already,
я плакал
I was crying,
и понял, что я не боюсь.
and I got it that I'm not afraid.
Но кто-то же вчера пришел и сказал, что я боюсь.
But yesterday, someone came and said, I'm afraid.
Someone who
Кто-то,
inside.
кто-то
Ну, в голове.
in the head.
Yes.
И это мне напомнило, что есть только один путь.
And it reminded me that there is only one way.
The voice came up inside the head, no?
Голос появился
afraid.
в голове, да? Я боюсь.
Yeah. Maybe it was really saying, "Get me out of here," this thing, and he's out now, no?
Может быть, он просто говорил: «О, освободи меня отсюда», и сейчас он освобожден.
Because sometimes this kind of intimate space we're in, then some things may be dormant for some time, and they just start to get released because there's not a place to hide so easy.
Может происходить такое, что некоторые вещи, которые как бы дремлют внутри нас, они вдруг начинают высвобождаться из нас.
So it is a good thing that they get exposed, no?
Это хорошо, что это проявилось.
Сейчас меня всего трясет.
Now I'm shaking.
Yeah, it's okay.
Это нам, окей.
If the mind doesn't interpret, because sometimes we try and interpret this shaking to be something negative or something.
Если ум это не интерпретирует, вот эта вот дрожь, которая есть сейчас,
Это даже весело.
no, it's even funny.
It's funny.
Это как будто бы не мое тело сейчас.
It's as if it's not my body.
Yes, yes. This is very good. Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Very good.
И что, все?
That's it?
Я люблю тебя.
Я
I
тебя
love
люблю. I love you so much.
Yes.
Thank you much.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Good translator, huh? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Somebody going to sing today? You are singing today? Very good, very good. Thank you. Where did he go? I thought he took the vanishing literally and. What happened?
I think I share first.
Yes, then.
I feel like as if I'm first time singing. I don't know what what I'm supposed to sing.
I can't help you there.
मन में आन
report to me about something, huh? Alles gut.